Can't say I've been counting days for this, but I sure as hell was excited to see the continuation of the story of one edgy skeleton. Elder Lich. Considering the previous production decisions, I was mildly concerned and started the binge with a bit of susness, to be immediately greeted by Albedo moaning in bed.
Ainz-sama!
10 out of 10, best premiere ever, too bad Ainz-sama wasn't there. All jokes aside, boy did I like this season and watched it a few times already. So let me share some things you might have missed in this one. Hello comrade, my name is Mahis. Come, get yourself a beverage and sit down with me, we got season 4 to look into. So far every video in this little series had 2 mandatory segments, this and number 4. Returning viewers should know what they are, but for those who don't, let me tell you that I take a lot of lessons from the Supreme One, and just like during the EST's assault, my approach will be equally straightforward. The army of spoilers indeed has no mercy, so run for your life if you don't want this smoke. I just realized that I haven't talked about these two yet, and it's a shame, since they are an absolute bundle of joy, happiness, and occasional brutality. The season showed them in a casual setting as well as on a mission. A few missions actually, and we finally got a good look at their respective characters in different environments. The reason I say that is because the twins were relevant during the entire story, it's just that the anime didn't have the screen time to spare for their shenanigans, which didn't help since a bunch of people misinterpreted some moments. For example, Mare on the rooftops being concerned about his assignment to the point of almost crying. Granted, he's a sensitive boy, but don't get it the wrong way. He was not worrying about killing thousands of innocent people. As we've seen before, he couldn't care less. The reason being is his and his sister's sense of justice, which is -100. At that point, the Dark Elf was doubting himself, wondering if he could do an adequate job of destroying the capital without anybody escaping, and was even hyping his own ass up. At the same time, Aura was not interested in killing anyone, because her duties were about retrieving certain items such as Hara Studio version of Armageddon Evil. She only engaged in combat when her mission was on the line, though she did give them a chance to flee, fully knowing that Oni-chan will take care of them, so when they refused, there was no hesitation. Actually, both of them have no chill. When Jerknif invited them for a conversation, they absolutely shat on his best food and drinks, totally ignored the negotiations about other Dark Elves of the Empire, and threatened to level his entire country that very moment if he continued to fuck around instead of apologizing to Bone Daddy. Okay, it's time to dig into the meat and potatoes, starting with how the infamous massacre affected the world and the results of Nazarick actions in general. We kinda saw bits and pieces, but it's the characters I'm more interested in. Let's start with Hilma. She is looking rough, and for good reason. Well, the reason is bad, but you know what I'm talking about. Crocodile was onto something when he said that they're like somebody wearing his colleague's skin, since they are so drastically different in appearance and behavior. Not sure if that line was a reference to something, but there were certainly some insects getting inside them. If you recall from season 2, Mare brought Hilma to Kyokuko to get eaten a few times, but that doesn't quite cover the true horror of the situation. Remember how the dude offered her something to cleanse her mouth with? That's because those cockroaches went down that path too, scarring her so much that she can no longer eat solid food without severe flashbacks, and that's why she lost 20 kilos everywhere except for the most important area. Then we have Ramposa III. I long consider him a weak leader and a pushover in general. His kingdom is sinking in crime, he can't set his aristocracy straight, hell, he can't even discipline his own son. In any case, after that slaughter, the guy aged a decade. He lost his men, his child, part of his kingdom, and honestly, sanity too. It became very apparent when some dumbass attacked Sorcerer King's cargo, completely invalidating the efforts of Gazef and others. But the king had the nerve to protect Philip, using the same lives wasted as an excuse to continue the struggle. That's peak hypocrisy. No fucking shit he offered his head, as at that point he was just looking for a way out. And then there is the Emperor. He is a perfect example of how doing too much bites you in the ass as the result. He wanted to show the world Ainz-sama's strength. Well, nearly 200,000 enemy soldiers died, some of his too due to panic, and everyone's understanding of military power completely shattered, including his own. Cherry on top, people know that you've asked the Sorcerer King to do that, so no surprise that there are so many resignations due to that and PTSD. Now, Jerknif is stressed out and stuck in his head. thinking, planning, looking for a solution, and the moment some help arrives, our Chad does too. The Emperor is broken, absolutely devastated, and the worst part, the Sorcerer King just wanted to hang out. Bone Daddy didn't have a grudge or negative intentions, he wanted to create a friendship, while this dude with his intellect, instead of listening to his squad, continued to dig his own grave. On the topic of Ainz-sama doing some side quests, we've met a bunch of new characters. One of them is an old friend and my favorite sin, Gluttony. I'm so happy for the guy. He got out of a toxic relationship, lost some weight, started a business, and in general has done alright for himself. However, there are a few things that are unclear or not explained at all in the anime. For starters, this is a dude. I actually love his voice and okay if he was a woman, minus his hands, which are a result of rigorous training, including punching rocks and shit. As for the maid outfit, it too serves a purpose of distracting his opponents, making them sloppy, and protecting his manliness, as nobody would consider that. To put it shortly, he's a very experienced and expensive bodyguard to Osk, who also has more to him than meets the eye. Bunnyman didn't call him a perv for no reason. He was looking at his hands that way. You see, abusive relationships leave a mark, and he went from lusting a 90-60-90 to getting a hard-on for muscles and raw power, hence his desire for Gagaron and his job description. Also, sex, gender, shoe size, he doesn't care about any of that. His new fetish is gains and gains only, so my advice, if you want to retain your sanity, drop that bitch yourself before others do it for you. One more time, we have to go back to the Sorcerer King and prove once and for all that he's an exceptional leader and a salesman. Touch Me was absolutely correct to assign him as the head of the guild, since he possesses one of the key qualities for such a position. Ability to inspire, ignite the hearts, and motivate through sheer words. And not some threats like do it or die slowly and painfully. No, he will moisten you up and you will hand him your soul on a silver platter with sugar on top. I swear, watching him talk is like watching Bob Ross paint. It's so smooth, natural, and the best part, it's fucking genuine. I don't agree with that utopia bullshit, as it's just another dream world proven through experimentation to not be possible for our restless species. But him advocating for no more kill 10 skivers in the basement quests and exploring the unknown instead is spot on. They want that thrill, that excitement that comes from doing something that nobody has done before, and he knows those feelings firsthand. I bet he sometimes misses the good old days when he was a mere single-digit level adventuring through Yggdrasil for the first time. Nostalgia is one hell of a drug. The one that got the dwarves moved so much that they agreed to relocate to some pointy-chin, non-drinking, skeletal-ass, scary-looking dude's kingdom to revive their long-lost art. And to think that the Supreme One can just show up, drop his dick on a table and achieve his goals overnight is just fascinating to say the least. Okay, sure, I understand that nostalgia is not the right word here, and he did save the dwarves plus took the royal capital back. Still, Sasaga Ainz-sama and nobody will tell me otherwise. Oh, quickly, if we are talking about personal opinions, here's an honorable mention and a headcanon of mine. When Icebug wanted to get better at giving rides, he was doing so to later play with Ainz-sama's children. Remember how excited he was about the idea in the second episode? Yeah, no lewd shit here, just good old Uncle Cocutus. Now, to my most favorite part of the season. It's not the Hollow Knight, not the brain dead moment, not even the Disney princess. As much as I'd like to discuss how their stories concluded, there is one that got me even gooder. I'm talking about these 12 minutes and precisely this scene. As soon as I saw it, even though I was sitting, my body sank into the couch and I felt exactly as Ainz-sama did. Utter disappointment. Literally, for the first time ever, Bone Daddy dropped his fancy act that he spent months practicing and even told Albedo to bury Xanax with respect. The Sorcerer King was fuming on the inside. Not only did these wastes of oxygen kill their king, they dared to pledge their so-called loyalty to Ainz-sama and expect to live happily ever after. Guess what? They got what they deserved, as their wish was the worst possible thing to ask from the Supreme One. And for some reason, both Sub and Dub got this part wrong, so let me correct it for you.
ニューロニストにはあの者らが死を望まない限り絶対に殺さないようにと言っておけ。死を望んでもしばらくは殺さないようにともな。
If there is one thing that Ainz-sama absolutely despises, it's betrayal. Every time there is a quote-unquote revolt, everyone took it super seriously, with execution as a punishment even for the Guardians. On the other hand, when someone's allegiance was proven in a certain situation, mercy was on the agenda. Arshay, Gazov, even Hilma. But these scum-sucking sacks of biomass backstabbed the dude who went solo to the enemy camp to negotiate at least something for their ungrateful asses. Bone Daddy did recognize that, and Zanuck earned his admiration. To that end, he agreed to grant them all mercy, a painless death. And these schmucks... I'm so upset, I have no words. So, it was I, Mahis, losing faith in humans into the microphone. Have a great, whatever time of the day you have. Until next time, cheers.